What's up guys, welcome to Monchkinz Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Monchkinz logging in to bring you your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia Hero of the Week. This week's Hero of the Week is Terra Bradford. Now she is one of the main characters of Final Fantasy VI. And some might say that she is actually the main protagonist, at least when they are trying to advertise Final Fantasy VI. Although in an interview with Yoshinori Kitase, he has stated that there is no official main character in Final Fantasy VI. Now Terra is a very powerful girl. She was born between an Esper and a human, who was manipulated by Kefka using the slave crown. And she was used for evil deeds, but was aided by the anti-empire organization called the Returners. And together they fought the battle to defend the world. Now although Terra actually uses a sword, she actually used magical attacks to hit her enemies. And a fun little side note that she was actually called Tina in the Japanese version of the game. Alright, so now that we know a little bit something about Terra, it's time to take a look at her weapons and armors. The first one is the Rune Blade. This gives the affinity ability Initial Brave plus 55 once you max it out. The next one is called the Falchion. This gives the affinity ability Blood Rush, which raises her Brave by 1.2 when Meltdown Plus is used. It extends the duration of attack up and defense down. The next one is called the Enhancer. The Enhancer gives the affinity ability bonus of Meteor Fall, which increases the Meteor's plus potency and extends the duration of attack up and speed up. And finally, we have her Organics. Now her Organics is not available in the global version just yet. This gives the affinity ability Unleash Magical Power, which equips her EX ability called Riot Blade. The Riot Blade is a 3-hit Brave attack plus an HP attack. Its potency increases as her HP goes down and grants large max Brave up for 5 turns. As you level up this weapon, it will get some passive abilities. The first one is the Riot Blade Power Up, which slightly raises the Brave damage dealt by Riot Blade. Riot Blade Buff Plus, which grants a large max Brave up for 5 turns when Riot Blade is used. And finally, when you max it out, it gets Riot Blade Recast Up, which slightly raises the recast speed of Riot Blade. Now let's take a look at 2 of her armors. The first one is called the Jeweled Ring, which gives the affinity ability HP plus 680. And the next one is the Mystery Veil, which gives the affinity ability Will of Bravery and Power, which gives her initial Brave plus 110 and attack of 72. So now that we know some of her armors and her weapons, it's time to take a look at her active and passive abilities. The first ability that she has is called Meltdown Chant. Basically, this gives herself a Brave of 1.5 times and gives herself an attack up for 3 turns, and for 5 turns she gets a max Brave up. This upgrades her HP attack and has a high turn rate. And then it'll become Meltdown Plus, which is basically her HP attack. This gives the target 2 turns of defense down and has a high turn rate. Her next ability is called Meteor Chant, which gives herself a Brave of 1.5 times and gives herself 3 turns of attack up and 5 turns of speed up. This upgrades her HP attack to Meteor Plus and has a high turn rate. And then once it becomes Meteor Plus, Meteor Plus is basically a 10-hit non-elemental brave magic attack plus an HP attack. This gives the target 2 turns of speed down. And finally, her last ability, the Riot Blade. Like I said earlier, this is not available in the global version just yet, and it's only available in the Japanese version once you have her EX weapon. So it is a 3-hit brave plus an HP attack, and its potency increases as the HP goes down. It grants a large max brave up for 5 turns and requires the Organics passive to work. So now let's take a look at her passive abilities. Again, I will just list out the Crystal Strength 1 to 50. The first one is the critical power up. Then she gets Meltdown Light, Kill Brave gain, Meltdown Brave gain, Meteor power up, Meltdown chant charge, Break bonus up, Meteor chance charge, and then she gets Trance. As for her passive past level 50, the first one that she'll get is at level 54, which is a Brave Danger Speed up. This slightly raises the speed when Brave is below the initial Brave. She also gets the Meltdown Extend, which slightly raises Meltdown chance Brave gain based on her attack. Slightly increases the potency of Max Brave up and grants Brave Regen buff for 5 turns after using Meltdown Plus. She gets the Brave Base up, which slightly raises her initial Brave when her HP is over 50%. And finally, at Crystal Strength 60, she gets Meteor Extend. It increases the number of hits of Meteor Plus to 15. Now let's take a look at the artifact passives that you can get for Terra. The first one is the Brave Guard up, which basically raises her defense when her Brave is over 50% of her max Brave. The Trance boost, which increases the effects of Trance. And then she gets Bravery Meltdown Plus, which raises the Brave by 10% of initial Brave after using Meltdown Plus. Finally, she gets the Mighty Meteor Plus, which raises her Brave damage dealt by Meteor Plus by 10%. So, which one should you be going after? Well, to be honest with you guys, there's quite a couple of things for Terra. First off, I would really recommend getting the Attack plus 108 for the sole reason of her Meteor hitting 10 times. And finally, once we get the level 60 passive in the future, this will be 15 hits of Meteor damage. And of course, do not forget to try and get the Mighty Meteor Plus, because this is actually very useful for further Brave damage. Now, if you're capping quite a lot, and especially later on when the Meteor Plus turns to 15 hits, having max Brave 330, which actually gonna be really helpful. So we're finally at the last section of this video. So this is the synergy and my final thoughts on Terra. Let's start off with Terra's role. So technically she is a magical attacker and has a role of a debuffer as well on the side. She has excellent attack, initial Brave, and max Brave. However, she does suffer from low HP and low defense and a subpar speed. Terra does well with a lot of the Brave Battery combo. However, she can hold her own because she can buff herself. Now the problem here lies with the setting up. A lot of her skills needs to be chanted, so it takes 2 turns for you to be able to maximize Terra, at the very least. Well, and if you really want to maximize her to her true potential, it takes about 3 to 4 turns, because you need to set up the Meltdown chant, and then you need to do the Meteor chant as well. This is probably why you don't see Terra quite a lot, especially in events which you only have a limited amount of turns, because Terra's inability to attack straight away is basically a hindrance to the team. Another thing to note is during cycle events, you probably don't want to use Terra, because if you're speed running that like most people will do, it's a little bit slower with Terra in there, and probably why she doesn't get picked as a support when it comes to those kinds of things. Now, that's not to say that Terra is a terrible character, it's just the circumstances of her abilities which sort of push her down. However, I do feel like Terra is a very good attacker, because once you finish setting her up, that meteor, in more than the likely scenario, will break any opponent. That 10 hit attack is quite powerful, and especially in looking into the future where that will be 15 hits. Coupled with a very good attack plus passive or artifact passive, and artifact passive of Mighty Meteor Plus, this is definitely gonna be something that you want for your team. So in the end, should you be investing a lot of resources on Terra? Well, it's a yes and a no for me. It all depends on your circumstances when you want Terra. If you really want a high damaging character that you can use on co-ops, then by all means use Terra there. However, if you're trying to speed run through a lot of the content, especially if you're a new player, Terra is probably not the first character that you want to invest in. Because if you really want to speed run through the content and try to catch up with everyone and get as much of the gems as you can, then Terra will be a little bit slower than everyone else because of her chanting ability. Now again, I'm not saying that Terra is a terrible character, it's just the circumstances of her abilities that is trying to sort of tear you from whether you want to invest on Terra or not. And again, looking into the future, she already has access to her EX weapon in the Japanese version, so it's only a matter of time before we get that as well. And I think I'll end the video right here. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I'd like to hear from you guys what you think of Terra. And make sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter. This is Monchkinz logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.